Hi, I'm Naughty from Guilds are Serious, and today I'll be explaining the 25-man Flame Leviathan fight in Ulduar. Throughout the Flame Leviathan fight and the trash leading up to it, your raid will be placed in 3 different types of vehicles. The 3 types of vehicles are a siege engine, a demolisher, and a chopper. The siege engines will have the most health and will be most likely responsible for kiting Flame Leviathan through the fight. Flame Leviathan will target one random siege engine or demolisher at the start of the fight and pursue him or her until the Flame Leviathan decides to change targets. If you have deadly boss mods, you will be alerted 5 seconds before this target changes. When you are deciding which vehicles to assign to which raid members, it is important to remember that the health of the vehicles is based off of the itemized level of the gear of the person piloting each vehicle. In other words, you probably want to have your most geared members in siege engines, as they will be tanking this boss most likely. During the entire fight, it's the job of the choppers to lay tar in front of the Flame Leviathan where they think he's going to be. Unless the Flame Leviathan is about to pursue a different target, this tar must always be up in order to cause more DPS and slow the Flame Leviathan. It is the job of the siege engines to kite Flame Leviathan, as you see one of our siege engines is doing here. The other siege engine should be in melee range of Flame Leviathan unless there is only 5 seconds until he changes targets, as you see here. Upon receiving the Deadly Boss Mod's warning that the Flame Leviathan is about to pursue a different target, all siege engines and demolishers must get away from Flame Leviathan in case they pursue him, because if Flame Leviathan is within a short distance of whoever he is pursuing, he will do a frontal AoE which will most likely destroy any choppers who happen to be in front of Flame Leviathan at the time. Should the Flame Leviathan turn around and find one of the siege engines too close to him, it is important for the passenger of that siege engine to put on their shield in order to stop the siege engine from being destroyed. During the entire fight, it is the job of the demolishers and demolisher passengers to DPS the boss, but when it is called, the demolisher passenger must load himself or herself into the catapult of the demolisher, and the demolisher driver must launch that person up onto the top of the Flame Leviathan. From there, the demolisher passengers can damage certain towers on top of Flame Leviathan. When these towers are destroyed, Flame Leviathan will overload and stop all movement, standing still for a certain amount of time, allowing for all units to DPS very hard. When the people on top of the Flame Leviathan have finished their job, they will be launched off of Flame Leviathan, which is why it is important for choppers to look around for that person and pick them up off the ground, and then take them back to their respective demolishers. It is usually helpful to, before the fight, mark each person who is going to be launched onto the top of the Flame Leviathan, so that it is easier for the choppers to see these people. At a certain point during the fight, the raid leader will call for all demolishers to use all of their pyrite upon the boss. This will cause high amounts of damage because it will stack. If a demolisher is low on pyrite, it is important for them to look around the battlefield for any remaining pyrite. When the demolisher finds pyrite, it is the job of the person who is passengering the demolisher to stop DPS on the boss for a few seconds to pick up the pyrite from the ground. Also, every 15 or so seconds, Flame Leviathan will do a channeled cast called Flame Vents. This must be interrupted using the second ability of Siege Engines. Siege Engines must be within 10 yards of Flame Leviathan to use this ability, otherwise it will not work. If a Siege Engine should fail to do this, Flame Leviathan will cast Flame Vents, which will do a serious amount of damage to the entire raid and most likely cause a wipe. This means that all siege engines who are not currently kiting the boss must be within 10 yards of Flame Leviathan in order to interrupt his casted ability. Thank you for watching Guilds are Serious' guide to Flame Leviathan 25-man Ulduar. And remember, 25-man Ulduar is serious business.